أنتم تستمعون إلى أحلى FM.
شو بتعرف عن الاقتصاد؟ وشو بتعرفي عن الاقتصاد؟ شو بتعرفوا عن الأسعار وعن السياسات والقرارات؟ أنت الاقتصاد، أنت الاقتصاد، لنعرف أكثر عن الاقتصاد. شعارنا في برنامجكم المحاور الاقتصادي: معلومات أكثر، خيارات أكثر، حياة أفضل. في كل خميس تمام الساعة 2 بعد الظهر سأكون معكم أنا طلعت علوي في برنامجي الأسبوعي المحاور الاقتصادي، وعلى أثير أحلى FM. أسعد الله أوقاتكم وأهلا وسهلا بكم في لقاء جديد من برنامج المحاور الاقتصادي. هذا البرنامج يأتيكم في كل خميس. أسعد الله مساءكم جميعا. من الآن وحتى الساعة 3 سنكون مع لقاء جديد وحوار جديد من برنامجكم الاقتصادي الأسبوعي أو المحاور الاقتصادي، وعلى أثير أحلى FM. معي في الإنتاج كالمعتاد مادلين أبو حطب، وفي الهندسة محمد أحمد. ولقاءنا اليوم حول العلاقات الاقتصادية والتجارية بين فلسطين والاتحاد الأوروبي. ضيفي رح يكون ممثل الاتحاد الأوروبي في فلسطين، ومعكم من وراء الميكروفون معد ومقدم البرنامج طلعت علوي. شو بتعرف عن الاقتصاد؟ وشو بتعرفي عن الاقتصاد؟ شو بتعرفوا عن الأسعار وعن السياسات والقرارات؟ أنت الاقتصاد، أنت الاقتصاد، لنعرف أكثر عن الاقتصاد. شعارنا في برنامجكم المحاور الاقتصادي: معلومات أكثر، خيارات أكثر، حياة أفضل. في كل خميس تمام الساعة 2 بعد الظهر سأكون معكم أنا طلعت علوي في برنامجي الأسبوعي المحاور الاقتصادي، وعلى أثير أحلى FM. أهلا وسهلا بكم في لقاء جديد من برنامج المحاور الاقتصادي. واليوم لقاءنا مع سفير الاتحاد الأوروبي السيد جون غات-روتر. اللي برحب فيه بالاستديو. It's great to have you here. Good afternoon, Mr. John.
Good to be here with you.
Most welcome. أهلا وسهلا.
شكرا.
Yeah. Actually, the reason we are here specifically is to talk about the relation between the EU and Palestine. How to tell our audiences more about this relation in general and in the economic side in more details, please.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. I think we are privileged, and I am privileged to be able to represent the European Union to the Palestinians, with whom we have an extremely close, deep and comprehensive partnership. I think it's a partnership that exists on a number of levels. On the one hand, between the people, with the Palestinian people, and also with the leadership, with whom we have been also working very closely on a number of fields for a number of years. So our partnership is a long-standing partnership based on a desire to see progress in terms of building a Palestinian state, of establishing an independent Palestinian state, a democratic Palestinian state, and working closely with the Palestinian Authority to bring about that kind of Palestinian state that we would want to see.
Yep. Okay. The EU is providing a significant support to Palestinians in Gaza and West Bank. Can you tell us more about that regarding your interest in more support to Palestinians in both West Bank and Gaza?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that our support is not from a desire to provide charity. It's really about supporting the political project. And the political project is about building the institutions to develop an independent, democratic, contiguous Palestinian state.
Yeah.
In order to channel and to support that endeavor, in order to put the Palestinians in a better position to have that state, to achieve their state, to achieve their independence, which is duly theirs, we've been working very closely in a number of areas. I would just highlight the main areas. Rule of law and justice. That is, of course, one of the important areas, one of our focal sectors.
Sure.
The other is the private sector. So you asked about the economy.
Yeah.
One of our focal sectors for our support is the private sector, and working together with the Palestinians to see how they can develop the means to promote their own economy.
Is there any fields of the private sector that we?
Well, it's across the board. It's across the board. Really, it's the sector, is the private sector itself. Of course, one of the most important aspects of that is, of course, export.
Yeah.
So we're working very closely with our Palestinian colleagues, our Palestinian counterparts, to develop a national export strategy, which would.
So that means to support Palestinian products.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Specifically.
Correct. Palestinian exporters with Palestinian products. Absolutely. The other area, which we call a focal sector, is water and sanitation, where we're involved in infrastructure projects, not only in the West Bank but also in Gaza, in the north of the West Bank but also in Gaza. These are very important infrastructure projects where, of course, we are hoping together to provide sustainable living conditions, sustainable development for the communities, for the local communities. We, of course, also continue with our assistance to salaries and pensions and social allowances for civil servants. We continue with our contributions to UNRWA. We also continue with our contributions to East Jerusalem, where we're also involved in areas such as health and education and even housing.
In East Jerusalem.
In East Jerusalem.
Yeah.
We're also involved in Area C, which is, of course, an important part of the occupied Palestinian territory.
Do you face any challenges in supporting the people in East Jerusalem?
Well, we're trying to work around.
You know, it's a complicated issue here.
It is very complicated. I think a lot of what we do here is extremely complicated, and we are trying to find a space in which we're allowed to operate, in which we can take forward the objectives that we actually have elaborated jointly with the Palestinian Authority. Not always easy, especially in Area C, but we are determined to continue to find ways in which we can promote Palestinian economic development in Area C.
Do you think the trade ties and trade relation, I mean trade exchange between Palestine and the EU is growing very well, especially after we have exempted our goods from in the EU? There is a lot of support and a lot of programs talking about that the exchange, the trade exchange between two sides. But do you think it's growing gradually and in the area that you feel it's a good trade relation between the both sides?
Well, we've had what we call an interim association agreement with the Palestinians for a number of years. Of course, the abilities of the Palestinians to make full use of what that agreement actually provides is, of course, limited by the occupation.
Yeah, sure.
And limited by the divisions, the Palestinian divisions, between the West Bank and Gaza. But I think, on the whole, we have benefited together, jointly, from that association agreement, from that partnership. And this is ultimately the legal basis which governs our relationship. But, of course, there is still room for improvement in terms of economic relations, in terms of trade in products. But I should signal one aspect, and that is that last year we signed with our Palestinian partners an agreement to further liberalize trade in agriculture, agricultural products and fishery products. So we continue to work closely with our Palestinian partners on further liberalizing our trade agenda.
شو بتعرف عن الاقتصاد؟ وشو بتعرفي عن الاقتصاد؟ شو بتعرفوا عن الأسعار وعن السياسات والقرارات؟ أنت الاقتصاد، أنت الاقتصاد، لنعرف أكثر عن الاقتصاد. شعارنا في برنامجكم المحاور الاقتصادي: معلومات أكثر، خيارات أكثر، حياة أفضل. في كل خميس تمام الساعة 2 بعد الظهر سأكون معكم أنا طلعت علوي في برنامجي الأسبوعي المحاور الاقتصادي، وعلى أثير أحلى FM.
We spoke little off the air about the implementation of European neighborhood policy in Palestine. Can we talk about that on air?
Of course we can.
Yeah.
I just only this morning handed officially to the foreign minister our official copy of the progress report. This is the progress report for 2012 for the implementation of the jointly agreed action plan.
Yeah.
And I have to say that by and large, the progress report is positive about the reforms that have been implemented by the Palestinian Authority in areas in which the PA actually has control.
Economic, social, or
Well, in all areas. In all areas. I mean, what I think the basic conclusion from our progress report is that in areas where the PA has authority and has control, then the efforts made by the government to bring about reforms in a number of sectors, including, for example, public financial management,
yeah,
but not limited to public financial management. Also, for example, the holding of local elections, which were held in a very good way. So there have been areas in which the PA has actually demonstrated good progress. There has also been areas in which there have been shortcomings. But of course, this is done in a spirit of compromise, in a spirit of partnership, I should say. Of course, there is the question of the occupation. There is also the question of the division between the West Bank and Gaza,
Sure.
which has, of course, hindered, in many ways, the ability of the PA to make progress in important areas such as human rights, such as the security sector, such as the very important sector of justice, where we have, in our progress report, underlined the need to see progress in streamlining the different areas and the different sectors in the important area of justice.
So can we consider the report as a new vision from the EU to Palestinians?
Well,
Is it a new vision?
In a way it is, because the neighborhood policy has changed in the last couple of years, where we've seen dramatic and momentous changes taking place in the Arab world. And one of the ways in which the European Union tried to respond to the dramatic developments that were taking place is by revamping the neighborhood policy. This is a policy that we have that is addressed to all our neighbors, but it is of course built on a principle of differentiation. No two neighbors are alike. Different neighbors have different objectives, different partnerships, different links. I think, as I said at the start, we have extremely close links with the Palestinians. And the Palestinians have been amongst the first to benefit from a new generation action plan. We have new generations action plan, which foresee even greater integration between the Palestinians and the Europeans throughout in a rather comprehensive way. I would say the EMP, the neighborhood policy, is very comprehensive in its nature, in the sense that it addresses questions related to governance, for example, rule of law, security, but also economics, also phytosanitary measures, also agricultural measures. So it really is an across-the-board kind of agreement, and the Palestinians are amongst the first to benefit from a new generation action plan.
So now Palestine is a state. Is there any changes or a progress in the relation between the two sides after the last December 2012?
Well, we've been working to promote, as I said earlier, Palestinian statehood. And we've always supported the idea of Palestinian statehood. Of course, we believe that for a true and genuine statehood to come about, negotiations with Israel are absolutely essential. Of course, this remains to be seen how they can be done, but of course it's essential for there to be talks on final status issues, which we have said many times in the past. But of course, we're ready to work and to continue to work closely with the Palestinian leadership in the light of what has been achieved at the United Nations last year. For us, we continue with our support to the Palestinian Authority, both our political and our financial and our economic support.
Finally, actually, do you think the resignation of Prime Minister Salam Fayyad may affected negatively the support to Palestinians? You know, the street is talking about that. We heard about that.
Look, we've been working in very close partnership with the Palestinian Authority led by President Abbas and Prime Minister Fayyad. That is no secret to say that we've enjoyed working very closely with both Palestinian leaders, both the President and the Prime Minister, under the effective leadership of the President. What we would hope to see is, of course, a continuity of the program that we have established together, a continuity of the state-building project that we have been investing in, a continuity of the institution-building project that we have invested in, and also a continuity of the reforms that we have seen that have been elaborated in the last few years. So we very much look forward to continue our very close and deep cooperation with the Palestinian Authority.
Mr. John Gatt-Rutter, it's great to have you here, the representative of the EU to Palestine.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You listen to المحاور الاقتصادي. Thank you for joining us. راح أكون معكم أنا طلعت علو في الأسبوع القادم على أثير أحلى FM. السلام عليكم.
شو بتعرف عن الاقتصاد؟ وشو بتعرفي عن الاقتصاد؟ شو بتعرفوا عن الأسعار وعن السياسات والقرارات؟ أنت الاقتصاد. أنت الاقتصاد. لنعرف أكثر عن الاقتصاد. شعارنا في برنامجكم المحاور الاقتصادي. معلومات أكثر، خيارات أكثر،